Good morning and welcome to Morning Coffee with Brigid. I am Brigid Burke, and I'm just going to turn my comments thing on. Today is the 5th of February, 2025, and it's a very gray day here where I live. Um, and I just woke up half an hour ago, I guess. So I did wake up I woke up, but quite late actually for this live stream. I was kind of up and down, all night. I was feeling probably about, I think at 1:30 I woke up, then at 3 o'clock I woke up, and then I woke up at 4 o'clock. So yeah, it's been kind of one of those mornings where I've been up and down, and it's just been, I feel like I had like a lot of dreams last night. I think I've been having a lot of dreams every night. I'm not sure. I remember specifics about last night's dreams, but today is a day it's really weird because the energy I think today is very unsettled. Good morning, Alex. I feel like okay, Venus moves into Aries today. That's right. That is the thing that's happening today. Venus is moving into Aries, because I'm trying to think about what has gone on and what exactly is happening. Because it's just like, I feel like this is like kind of weird. And I don't know, I did a couple, I still managed to put in a couple of readings. What I always do in the morning, again, if anybody who pops in is new, I do, what I do is I will get up in the morning. I do my morning protections. I do my morning grounding. I say my morning prayers. And then I will actually, connect with my guides. And of course, my two guides are Maka and Azrael. And Azrael this morning had something interesting to say. He was basically saying that that there's kind of an unsettledness, like there's a collective unsettledness, that the minds of humans are just very very unsettled right now. And he basically said, you're kind of a vessel for that. Like, you're picking up on a lot of that kind of energy. And so so I'm actually very I think that's what I'm feeling a lot of. I did interview for a position yesterday, and good morning, Suda. I interviewed for a position at at my old university, and it was it was like, I think they had literally like 20 questions. Good morning, Sam. Hello. Good morning, afternoon. Good to see you. I had So I had this interview yesterday, and I mean, it went fine. I mean, I don't know, because people, oftentimes you'll have a job interview and people go, well, how did it go? And I'm like, well, the honest answer is I don't know. I do know all the people involved, and which is why I feel like it's a 50-50 proposition. It could be either, we're totally going to give it to you, or sorry, we want more of this, or we want more of that. So, I'm saying it could go either way. I'm trying not to have any expectations about it. And this would be a job where I would be teaching probably in person, although it was said on the interview that there could be an asynchronous version of this in the future, which would actually be kind of good if there was. But at least for this semester, it would be like an 8-week in person. So, and I mean, and I guess part of me is just kind of like, okay, well, you're trying to move forward to other things. Why are you doing an interview here? But, honestly, it's about it's about finances. And I do think the topic that this class covers is actually quite an important one. And then when they explained to me, what the context and basis was for this particular class, which is an information literacy class, but it's, and it's meant to be technological literacy too. So, Joanne, hello, good morning. So it's meant to be both. It's meant to be technological lit, and it's meant to be info lit. But it's basically, interestingly, it's meant to be a precursor to, every college has a basic writing class, right? Basic composition, teaching students how to write. And in those classes, they teach them how to do citations, how to do bibliography, how to do all that exciting stuff. And this class is more about why those things are important. Okay, so that to me is actually kind of interesting. I mean, that's why I said I'm more interested in the philosophical why than teaching people how to do MLA or APA, which is not what I assumed this class was. If it was, I would not have applied for it probably. But so we will see. And so anyways, good morning. So today is kind of a day where I have I'm still in house clean out mode. Those of you who know my house or have seen it on camera downstairs know that I have, shelves full of books and stuff downstairs, and you would be very shocked to see what it looks like down there right now, which is probably another thing that's kind of a little, got me a little bit off, because I have at least 5, I probably have more like 10, but I have probably 5 to 10 boxes of books that I'm going to be donating. And I have another whole set over here, probably for eBay, that are things that I wouldn't just, give away to something like that. Leela says you would be awesome at teaching that. Oh, thank you, Leela. And good morning to you. Yeah, it's, yeah, probably, I could probably do a good job of it, but the question is, whether, I don't know, there's, I mean, you also know the place. Basic Comp Law was a killer for some folks. Basic Comp is actually a horrible course, and I feel sorry for anybody who teaches it. Now, I'm not teaching Basic Comp, but yeah, but those who learn it, the way that they teach it now, in fact, Dr. Orsini, who is on ISFM, has taught Basic Comp, and what he's told me about the way that it's taught, especially, well, I don't know about it, the school where I'm applying. I know the school I currently work, he's taught it there. And Basic Comp was just, largely teaching kids how to fill a word count. And I'm like, no. I said, for the love of freaking whatever. Oh, yes. Yes. And buongiorno to you as well. So I'm probably saying that very poorly. But it's, but in any case, it's, yeah, I feel like it's, I mean, Basic Comp, the way that they teach it now, I don't know, when kids come out of that class and then they take regular sections of things, like I teach myth, I teach religion, I teach stuff like that. There's a lot of them, some of them don't know how to put those concepts together. Like they think, oh, well, we talked about bibliographies and I only do bibliographies in this context. If you ask me to write an essay, I don't have to write a bibliography. Or if I just have to create a bibliography. It doesn't have anything to do with what's actually in the content of the paper. There's kind of this disconnect about things. I remember one of my friends, who I'll actually see next week at lunch. She had a student once where the paper was just appalling. She had that. This was the days that people red penned everything, right? And so this person said, "I don't understand why I got this grade." So she said, "Okay, well, let's go over why you got this grade." And I mean, she was talking about the spelling, the grammar, and the person looked at her and said, "Well, this isn't an English class," and it was just like, and she's like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, they don't understand how the whole package works together. And honestly, though, I don't feel like a class like that is just about writing papers. I feel like a class like that also needs to be about, how we understand what's out there. I mean, the fact that I think they said, Invecta has now said that 49.6% of the internet is now machines, machine generated content. And most of it's cannibalizing the content that the other, I don't know, 50, what is it? 50.4 or 51.4 is actually still producing. Kathleen, good morning. Okay, hang on a second here. Okay, right. Just had somebody I needed to get rid of there. Yeah. So anyway, this is so I have been, I did the interview yesterday. And I'm getting rid of all this stuff in my house, and there's a lot of this collective kind of angst going on, I guess we could say. So yeah, so I have this. So this morning I'm waking up, and I'm waking up kind of late, and I'm like, okay, I have a live stream in a half an hour, and I don't know exactly what I want to talk about. So typically on days when I don't. I'm not necessarily waking up with a topic on my mind other than, all the crap I have to do today and stuff, which, you're not really all that interested in. Then I'm going to do a few readings instead, and let's just see what kind of topics present themselves, because I think that's often the best way to start, to see what the universe tells us we need to know this morning, which is kind of the point of the last reading anyway. I can relate to the feeling of unsettling. Yeah, Alex is saying, yeah, it's just very it's just one of those mornings where everything is very I don't know, I just feel very weird You know, I just feel kind of, I woke up and I don't know, probably the gray day too. I don't know. I'm definitely one of those people who has, the weather can affect the way that I feel. I wouldn't go as far as to say that I have SAD, but I think it's more, or seasonal affective, but I think it's more like, I'm more motivated like when the sun is out, you know, it's that kind of a thing. I did see the weirdest thing last night. I have to say, I was putting coffee together for this morning. I was actually getting my coffee pot together, and I happened to look out my kitchen window, and I saw something very bright that wasn't that far from Venus. And I thought, oh, that must be, and it looked like though it was behind clouds. And I thought, oh, well, maybe that's the moon. I said, that's kind of interesting, that the way it looks, because I thought it was fuller than what it was. So I opened the door and I went out and I looked, and the moon is over here, and the sky is actually clear. There are some clouds, and you know how when the moon is out and it's very, very, like, it's kind of cold, how the sky kind of has a brightness to it, almost like a luminescence, and the clouds have a kind of luminescence to them. So this looked like it was a star or something that was kind of behind a cloud. And I thought, oh, I wonder what star that is, because it was very close. And Venus is super bright in the sky. Like, you know, like it was in the western sky and it was quite low. And I'm looking up, and all of a sudden, this bright thing, cloud and all, starts moving. And it starts like kind of taking off. And then all of a sudden, it's like it's puffing stuff out. It was puffing out things in colors. I'm like, what the frick is that thing? I literally have never, in all the, you know, stuff about the drones in New Jersey and stuff, I've never seen anything like this. It was the weirdest thing, but it was big, and it was like it was surrounded by a cloud. Because first I thought, you know, there's a cloud over it, but no, it moved out of the clouds into the clear spot, and it was still had this kind of hazy halo around it. And I'm like, what the heck is that thing? I still don't know. I haven't a clue. I don't even know that I have a guess. But that was a very weird thing that I saw fly. And then I saw two of those drone things just fly zip low, like right under it. And then this thing was kind of up there, but it was almost like it was pushing. You could actually see almost like, it's like if you ever watch the space weather stuff, and that they have the chart of the coronal mass ejections, like the way that energy just kind of pushes out, it kind of looks like that. And I'm just standing there, and it's cold, you know, stop. That reminds me of the movie Nope, Freaky. Oh, I actually didn't see that movie. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. I wasn't like, I have to say, it's not anything that I thought was threatening. It's not like, you know, anything happened, but it was odd. There's a lot of odd things still in the New Jersey skies. A lot of people are talking about the talk about the drone stuff has kind of gone away. There was some kind of an official statement from the FAA. Oh, the FAA was doing research, and Alex says, wow, yeah. Oh, you know, the drones were doing research and stuff like this. And, you know, they were doing research with, and that's rubbish. I mean, that is about as truthful as, you know, most of the stuff that comes out of the press office these days. I mean, it's not, I'm like, no, this is most definitely, you know, because, you know, none of that jives, because the thing is, if that's what it was, we would have been told right from the beginning, oh, there's just some kind of research going on. Now, some people say the research is to see people's reactions to things. But the thing is, this stuff is still going on. So it's not stopped. And it tends to happen, be very active around a certain time of night, like right after sunset to about 8, 9 p.m. And then I feel like, I mean, I don't know, I could just be in bed by then and don't notice it. But I do notice it happening all night. Because like I said, I have skylights, I have things, I see what's going on on the horizon and in the sky above me, like almost all the time. So anyway, let's do a first reading for today. I don't know what that was, but I was just like, okay, the other stuff has actually almost become passé to me. I'm like, yeah, okay, there's a, I think I said this song to Joanne. There's a Monty Python has this Contractual Obligation album that they did in the 70s. I think they did it around 75 or something like that. I could be wrong about the year, but there's this song called Here Comes Another One. And it's really, it's actually sang at first in this really whiny kind of annoying voice. And then at the end of it, they decide like to put like a disco background to it. And then they try to do it like a country song. It like John Wayne singing it. It's the funniest song. But when I hear it, I'm like, yeah, that actually literally describes what this whole phenomenon is. But anyway, I'm not, if you want to listen to that song, I'm sure, I know it's on YouTube. Okay. So our center card for today is experiencing. Okay. So this is the Three of Wands. All right, so Three of Wands. Three of Wands is one of those cards that means a lot of things. I just find you can take it a number of different ways, because in the traditional deck you see a man standing on the shore. There's three staves, and usually he's holding onto one of them and looking out over ships. Now it's not really clear whether the ships are coming in or whether or not they're going out. And so the question is your ship coming in? Joanne's laughing here. Are your ship? Yeah, Joanne remembers this song. So are the ships coming in, or are the ships going out? And that is that's the thing. Is it, if these, so we don't know whether this is a case of us being told, you need to go out there in the world and get something, or whether it's suggestion that support is coming from somewhere else, right? So there's kind of to a certain degree, it could be both. I mean, sometimes when we put our energy out to something comes back to us. So now the way it's interpreted in this particular deck is interesting, because this card ends up being a woman following, who is hugging a tree. Okay. So the idea is that the Three of Wands is about experiencing the world, and not simply looking at it, say, from an intellectual level or from a distant level. We're not standing back and looking at things. We are immersed in it. And I guess as we can recall from a lot of the previous live streams, there's a whole lot about participation, right? I think the first one I did here on YouTube was about participation, about how we participate in things. And I would say that right now it's very hard to participate in a space where there's a lot of chaos going on. I mean, and again, regardless of anybody's politics, I mean, it is a chaotic time. There is a lot of chaos going on. And we are, I think, whether we're involved in it or not, I mean, I know I'm somebody who, like I said, it's, other than going to the post office yesterday, I don't think I've been out of the house since last week. I mean, I pretty much stay in. I don't turn the news on. I don't turn social media on. I mean, I do watch stuff on YouTube, but I don't watch. I mean, YouTube, I kind of pick and choose what I want. I watch my Alan Watts videos. I watch. I try to stay away from things right now, because I am aware of things that are going on, and I'm like, as I've said, I don't want to focus. It's not that I'm not putting my head in the sand. I'm aware of what's going on, and I'm aware of things that have to be done, but I'm also saying I find that the people I know who are spending all of their time staring at it and absorbing a lot of news about it and so forth are like losing their shit over it, basically. I mean, they're just like, they're freaking out. And my whole thing is I just don't want to, I feel like it's going to be more of a distraction that lets us lose focus from the things that what we're actually trying to accomplish, where we're headed. It's very easy to be distracted. And I realize that, a lot of what's going on is, there's a lot of groups that have a reason to be paying attention to it, to be fearful and so forth. I'm not saying that there isn't valid reasons for this. But I feel like it's a case of people have to, hang tight, kind of push back against what's going on, but at the same time, not lose focus of where we're going. Okay, so experiencing, this is kind of like, how do we manage to keep ourselves in it? Okay, I think one thing that kind of jumps to mind here, I'm speaking about my guru, about Amma. One of the things about when you think about a guru, or what a true guru is somebody who is able to, like, literally they have the view, they are in a space that is outside of time, really. Now, the guru is living here in space and time, but their mind, or whatever you consider their mind, is really outside of time. That's what a true guru is. A true guru isn't just somebody who's like a motivational speaker, or somebody who just, says nice things. A guru is somebody who is in that space. And that's why when you are initiated by a guru, it's like that is something that connects you to some kind of a divine current, and you gain it through that person. Now, with my guru, one of the things about her, I mean, if you ever read her biography, she went through a heck of a time growing up. Even kind of like being thrown out of the house by her brother because she wasn't she wasn't exactly the I can use the term black sheep of the family, but she was literally like she had really really dark skin when she was born, so she was kind of treated like oh well, she's the lesser one, she's not good enough, she's not the favorite, because she's not like it's amazing how that sometimes can happen. She's not the like her family treated it like and this is literally what her biography says, that because she was not like her lighter skinned siblings, they were like, oh, well, we're not going to bother to send her to school or whatever. Like it was that kind of a thing. And but she had all of these divine visions and things, and kind of went into these things. She upset her family because she would go out and like feed the untouchables and things, which you were not supposed to do. So she was always kind of like on the outside of things. But the whole thing is like when you're in that state of samadhi, when you're in that state of bliss, when we talk about as a spiritual experience, achieving something like that, you're in that experience, but you're still in the world. Okay, so you're still in the world, and when you've had that experience, you see the world differently. Okay, now I'm not going to pretend to have an experience like she's had. I have had glimpses of that experience. Probably there's a lot of people on here who have had those glimpses as well. But a glimpse is not the same as being, an embodiment of that. But at the same time, this person has to get into the world with, everything about it. And generally they walk into the thick of whatever it is that is problematic. People who are poor, people who are hungry, people who are sick, people who are suffering in some way. And they are trying to, and they don't see anybody as different, because when somebody looks at something from the perspective of the guru is looking at it like everybody is divine, everybody's the same, everybody is a part of this divine whole. Everybody is Shiva, everybody is part of this divine whole. So when they see that there are people who are who in their are suffering, their automatic inclination is to say, oh well, we all are the same person, kind of. We are also part of the same godhood, so we all help each other. So the guru will automatically lean towards, helping the sick, helping the poor, helping people like that, and that is definitely what she does. But this is it. She is both in this space that's removed, but she's also in the world. So, okay, in a way of trying to explain the idea of experiencing, it's like, yeah, we are, all of us are on our paths. All of us are doing our 12th house kind of stuff, let's just say. The work that we may be doing on our souls, the work that we may be doing that we feel inside of us about certain things. But this is, we feel all of these things, but at the same time, we're also in the world and doing the day-to-day stuff. We're out there, we're dealing with the reality of the cultural milieu, cultural, political, social, milieu that we're living in. So it's a case of how do we let ourselves be in the world without being separated from it? There's another layer to it as well, because oftentimes, as we said, the mind creates a layer between ourselves and the world. We observe and analyze the world. We don't actually experience it. Okay. So in any case, the root of this reading has to do with experiencing. The inner feeling of which we are unaware is the past lives card. Okay. Now, yeah, this has to do, and it's interesting because we've been talking the last couple of days about the number 8. And one thing I've noticed about this card is there's almost kind of an 8 type shape here. It's almost supposed to be like an hourglass. An hourglass kind of looks like an 8 too, doesn't it? And I think as Suda mentioned yesterday, it looks like the Leminskit, the infinity loop. And this is actually the moon card in this deck. And this is kind of almost saying like, this is what's unconscious here is the past, is the influence of the past pushing in on the present. Okay, so you have this this past pushing in on the present kind of thing, and this is what we are unaware of. And so I feel like a lot of what is going on right now is there's a lot of resistance to change. Because even among people who are not, there's a lot of change going on. There's a lot of change that we don't have control over. there's, there's, like I said, there's a matter of figuring out what you can control and what you can't control. And Suda says, yes, here. Yeah. Figuring out what you can control and what you can't control. But also, like we said the other day, the danger of getting involved in the loop. Like, there's a chance to do something different. Now, the external feeling of which we are aware, interestingly, is the success card, okay, which is the Six of Wands. Now, this is the person riding the tiger. So the Six of Wands, that's interesting, because I'm not sure if many of us feel that we are successful in something. But I always feel the Six of Wands is a card of recognition. It's a card of leadership, of being called to be seen for your gifts, for what you're valued for. What you have to contribute. And sometimes it's kind of what I'm hearing in my head is sometimes it's not always what you see, but it's what others see. It could be that other people are, yes, and you have the little Leminska. Actually, I just noticed a little Leminska on your comment. It was, yeah, it's this, this sense of, yeah, that there is, that you are, you may be accomplishing things. You may be moving towards things. You may understand that there is a call to stand up and participate. And I think what it's also saying is that you are supported, that there are people who look to you and say, yes, you are a person who is qualified. You are a person who is capable. You are, the right person for the job. I mean, that there's this feeling or this sense that that we, that there can be success in this, that there has been success already on some level. One of the things we have to think about when we are in a situation where we feel like there's a collective threat, or we feel like there are people, over the collective who might be threatening in some way, is that to act in a way where one feels threatened is already to suggest that somebody is on their way to losing. When oppression occurs, then we have to recognize that somebody who oppresses you is somebody who is afraid. Okay, somebody who is afraid of you, afraid of the power that you have. And that is always something to remember. You don't want them to convince you that you have no power. You definitely have a power. You don't want people, if people are trying to dim your light, then it's generally because there's something about your light that unsettles them. But it's kind of like good art. Good art is something that can often unsettle us, or it can fascinate us. Like, it's something that allows that unconscious part of ourselves to change. The whole idea is that we are, as we move into a new space, our consciousness needs to change. We can't follow the same old patterns, the same old routines, the same old ideas about cause and effect, because a lot of that's just kind of being blown up. And, and yes, we can be outraged in that, but we also have to say, okay, in this wreckage, we need to move ahead and do something completely different. We don't need to go back to a model where everything is, where everybody feels limited and everybody feels small. I mean, there has to be this breaking out. So I don't know. So the implication here is there's the tools for success. It's just that unconsciously, there's still these past patterns that we're stuck in. And again, because these patterns are unconscious, one thing I often have to sort of reiterate when we talk about conscious and unconscious mind, a lot of times people will think of like, oh, well, we kind of write the unconscious off in a way. There's certain thoughts and we'll say, oh, well, no, I don't think that, or I don't feel that. Or if you ask somebody about something, they'll say, well, no, this is my stance on it, and this is how I feel. But the past lives card, there's a sense there that, but what's really going on with you archetypally, you don't know that it's like a thought that you don't know that you have. And really to call it a thought is to really kind of minimize it. Archetypal ideas or archetypal pressure is something that is, it's numinous. I mean, it's just something that's not, it's uncanny in the way that it behaves. And when it comes into our life, it usually, I mean, oftentimes, archetypes manifest themselves. What they do is they constellate. It's kind of like they move from back here to up here where we can see them. And they usually do it in ways that are, they can run a spectrum from having crazy dreams to somebody actually having a whole mental breakdown. I mean, it can, because archetypal ideas are something that you don't want to possess you, so to speak. When we do that, then we need to engage the archetypes. We want to integrate them, but it's not about letting them control us, and it's also not about trying to suppress them either. That's not. We always try to do one or the other. We either try to use our rationality like as a as kind of the hammer to kind of beat it down, or but really ultimately, if it's something that takes us over, we can't help ourselves, right? We can't do anything about it. And and we have periods of our lives where we do experience the archetypes, again, not usually in a really dramatic fashion, but typically when we're in crisis, or when we suffer losses, or we suffer things. This is where that unconscious content starts to get stirred up, because the consciousness is there's a breakdown, there's a crisis there, and so that material gets activated. And again, but interestingly, our advice card is integration, right? I just said integration, right? This is temperance. This is, fire and water coming together. This is the opposites coming together, and so, so this is a period where I feel like this is saying, we are all dealing with kind of the specter of not only perhaps our own past lives, habits, patterns, identity, but also the specter of the collective past identities and so forth. And it's saying, you want to be aware, you want to be awake where you are now. You do have you've probably already had a certain measure of success in dealing with this, whether you're really aware that you have or not. And it's saying, some of this discomfort is part of this process of integration. And in fact, that is something that Rahani is meant to do. Rahani is where we use the violet flame as a means of taking this kinds of and this energy that makes us feel unsettled, and transmuting it into the energy that we need to move forward. That's usually how that works. It's a force for integration. It's not a force for. I mean, it burns something up for the purpose of, recycling it, so to speak. So what's our outcome card? And you guys are going to love this one. The outcome card is slowing down. Okay, so we have Mabel today. Anybody who's new to this live stream, there's a whole thing about Mabel. In any case, Mabel is a turtle, and so we have Mabel today, and so the idea is that we may, as we're trying to experience things, and as we're trying to integrate the new, we may have to slow down. I think there's a lot of people right now who, in the chaos of what's going on collectively, are like, okay, I better hurry up. I got to get this done. I got to get that done. I have to run. I have to, everybody's kind of like running in different directions. Like, I got to go here. Like, the house is on fire. I got to do this and that. And it's like, you have to slow down. You have to slow down and integrate what's going on, because anything that happens, whether positive or negative, that is new, is meant in some way to change the way we're looking at something, or to change the way we're thinking. Not to limit us, not to make us, more divided, not to make us hateful, and not to make us, yes, Joanne, yes, and yep, we got Joanne and Sudo with the little turtles. That's not the goal of it. It's not to make us. It's to crisis can be an opportunity to break out of patterns. And I know I've said this over the last several days, but I feel like at the moment it is something that's worth reiterating, because you have a lot of people who are in flux right now. A lot of people who are feeling uncertain. And again, it's not because people are just being hysterical. It's because, and probably I don't even like that word, because hysterical always comes from hysteria, which is the alleged condition that your uterus is floating around your body causing problems. But Alex says, I'm just afraid that I'm going to miss this moment of opportunity, which is probably holding me back. Okay. I'm glad you brought that up, Alex, because sometimes we can overthink and be overconscious of it. We kind of just have to let it happen. And probably the only thing that you need to do is just, past is not equal to present or to future. No, and interesting is what Suda's saying here. And no, exactly. It's not right. That's the myth of causality. Causality is what drives a lot of our narratives, cause and effect. if I do A, B is going to happen. And the thing is that's okay. Even the philosophers have kind of improved. The philosophy's kind of I'm sorry, an email popped in and I had the wrong word there. Philosophy has proved, David Hume has proved, that causality is not a necessary condition. That this is not and he's a rationalist philosopher. He's like, there's absolutely no reason why every effect has to have a cause. And I don't, and mind you, all the steps of the proof I do not remember, but I do remember being in class and our philosophy teacher saying that it was actually one of the most perfect theorems, like in philosophy. Like it was constructed perfectly, like with no loopholes and loose ends. Like it's the perfect theorem, and it says there's absolutely no necessity for a cause to have an effect, or that an effect has to have, that there has to be, like we always feel like there has to be a reason for something, right? And strictly speaking, there doesn't have to be a reason. Something can just happen. A lot of times we look for logic where there isn't any, or I will try to say, I often try to talk about logic in the sense of, like I think, okay, we tend to think that human beings are logical and rational. That is because that's what philosophy has told us. It's like, no, humanism tells us that. It tells us that what makes human beings great is their mind. That you have a great mind, and this mind holds up, and So human is it. So it's and that the mind is what puts us above other animals, right? That is what makes us close to the gods. The fact that we have rationality. Even a lot of like religious systems, the various currents of Gnosticism were even about the way in which, we could use the mind to escape this loop. But I think what Alex just said is very important, because sometimes the mind just creates another trap for us. So I don't think, that's why I think they don't have it quite right. That the means of getting out of the loop is not just to overthink it, or to kind of do the Nine of Wands thing where we're constantly watching for it. And I understand when we're all very aware of the astrology, when we're aware of the collective influences, we know something's coming, and we're kind of like, okay. Actually, Azrael did have another message for me this morning. He had two. And the second one was, he had said, the fury of the old age is coming to an end. He said, honor the new beginning that is coming in. He said, nobody, and he says, and no person knows the time. So in other words, what he was saying was that everything that we're seeing now that's going on at the net right now, represents the end of an old system. We are moving towards something new, and that's where our energy wants to be focused. Now, he said, okay, so a lot of people, what they're saying is saying, okay, but look at all these things that are going on. When is this going to stop, right? When are we going to move into this space where all this crap isn't going on? And what he's saying is, no one knows the time. So I asked him, I said, well, do you know the time? He said, yes. I said, well, are you going to share it with anybody? He said, no. So it's just basically, it's like any kind of an ending. It's like any kind of the death or a transformation of something. We don't always know the exact time. We're not going to be able to pinpoint a date and say, on this date, this is what's going to happen. Even the astrology can only kind of give us some guide signs. Okay. So, wow, that's a powerful message, is what Alex is saying. Yeah. We may know change is coming, but we don't know exactly when. And that's always kind of the annoying part for us as humans, is that we're just like, yeah, well, okay, if something's coming and we're trying to prepare for it, we want to know, if we were in a job, the job would be like, okay, well, here's the deadline, and here's the drop dead date, and here we do that. We don't have that kind of information. We just have to hang tight and trust the fact that we are going through an ending, and that a new beginning is coming. But I mean, I guess they have said, though, that there's, it's not going to be, the new beginning is not going to come without some pushback and upheaval. So yeah, so that is kind of the thing that we have been, that's helpful. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, he said that this morning, and I should add, for people, obviously the regular people who are on here, maybe the not regular people watching this, it's, when I ask Azrael questions in the morning, I generally don't have a question. I'm not saying to him, tell me about what's going on in this, and tell me, I mean, if I have a dream, I might ask him about that. But typically speaking, I just let him tell me whatever he thinks is important. And this is what came up this morning. So I definitely wanted to finish out our live stream today with a couple of essential oil cards. I had some other things, and somehow that one reading ended up taking up the whole time. I guess maybe it was kind of meant to. So again, you know, sometimes I think it's just better to go into these live streams. When I typically come in with a topic, it's because I've woken up and something is very much on my mind. But I feel like sometimes maybe it's just better to throw some cards and see where we go. Okay, so our two cards today are Tangerine and Patchouli. And so we'll start with Patchouli. It's the earthly card. The trigger statement is, I hate my body. I don't know if anybody's feeling that right now. And the true statement is, my body is my temple. Remember that you are a spiritual being having an earthly experience. Revere your loyal, sacred body. Okay, I think that kind of goes back to ideas of self-care. That could be for me. I mean, this morning I have been trying to really focus, moderate, not overeat, not stress eat, not do things like that. And I've been very good about that in the last week, but I don't feel like I'm seeing as much of a budge in the scale as I would like. And it's not like I think I look bad, but I just like it. I need to be, I want to be in a different place with that. So any case, and I don't know if other people are feeling that, but it's saying, but also I think it's just, make sure we take care of our bodies in this. I think when a lot of stress affects the body too, we can do that. Oh my God, that Patchouli card is for me. Oh, okay. Okay. So I'm not the only one who's feeling that way. Yeah. That we have to, I think a lot of us too are not, I think it's a reminder of something like Joanne said earlier in January, which was like when we did the podcast together. It was patchouli, yeah, Joanne. Oh, yeah, I know patchouli. That's a nice earthy scent. But you remember you were talking a lot about self-care over the month, and that I think is a big part of that too, reminding us to take care of our bodies and to do the right thing for it. And Tangerine is the next card, and the key word is innocence, which is interesting. We see that on the Sun card, right? The trigger statement is, I have so much to do. The true statement is, I am playful. Let the burden of responsibility go in this moment and look at your world with the eyes of a child. Okay. So that is back to the fact. And that's a real challenge, I think, for a lot of people right now. We're not living in a time where we exactly feel joyful, open, and playful for a lot of people. And this is saying, but yeah, amid the burning chaos, like you want to be playful. And because that's where we invent new ways. That's where we sidestep, whatever may be being lost. This is where we have the impetus to do something new. So yeah, I think this all goes back to, let's not focus so much on. I mean, we know we are very well aware of what's going on collectively. We are very well aware that, and again, I mean, there is what's going on in the USA, which is a pretty big deal. But there's also what's going on in other places in the world as well. And again, it's just reminding us, it's not saying stick your head in the sand and pretend it isn't happening. And Joanne says very important right now. Yes, exactly. But just remember to stay focused on what you're doing and on your own sense of play and what it is you're looking to create in this world. And if you say, well, I don't know what that is, well, then you just keep doing the same, doing what you do every day. And I think this would be a time where our awareness should really be focused on, kind of where we want to be, where if we are, how we are feeling about, like I said, our work every day, how we are feeling about our relationships, how we are feeling about the stuff that's going on around us, like getting a sense of where we are. And then, and again, if we just simply tune into our intuition, if we just tune into that instinct that we have, we'll be kind of led down the path to do the right kind of a thing. So I think listening to that kind of inner compass, so to speak, is really important right now. I think there's a real importance for us to do that, and to make sure that we are you know, that's the way in which we are going to honor ourselves, and that's the way in which we can navigate this time, because to some degree there is always going to be chaos that's going on, and yeah, and sometimes when it hits closer to home, it's, you know, it shakes us up more. Like there's earthquakes that go on every day. They're not always in our neighborhood, right? But we respond to what comes next, and staying in the present is definitely the way to do that. So anyway, that's what I've got for you today. We're at 1:15, so I'm going to probably end this live stream, but I want to thank everybody who joined this morning. It's good to see you, and if you're new to this live stream, I hope you've enjoyed it. And yeah, I did have to block somebody because I don't, you know, I don't take, like, when people start making comments that are like, you know, sexual, romantic, anything, and that I don't, no, it's not the place. So live life, stay out of rabbit holes. Joanne, yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, right. I mean, we can sometimes get ourselves, you know, unintentionally, we can get ourselves off course. But it's also good to remember that we can always write our course again too. I mean, don't feel like, oh no, I went off course. Like you can always get back on course. So anyway, I hope Kathleen, I see, has posted a comment, but I think it's probably going to be icons or something, which for some reason take another minute to, yes, little hearts. There we go. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. So I hope this was helpful today. And Alex says, thank you. This was huge. Fantastic. I'm glad that this really was helpful. And thank you as well, Suda, for joining us today. And yeah, I will see you guys. I'll be back on tomorrow morning. So have a good day and take care.